everybody, welcome back to Talk With Nia. So today we are going to be talking about Amerie, and did Beyonce and JLO steal Amerie's sound back in the early 2000s? Now, Amerie was born into a military family. She spent the first few years of her life in South Korea, the native country of her mother. Her dad, who was a chief warrant officer in the U.S. military, kept the family on the move, including stints in Germany, Texas, Alaska, and Virginia. Amerie headed to Georgetown University to study literature and was briefly in the Navy ROTC. She eventually graduated with a BA in English, minoring in design. And while at Georgetown, she met the man who could change her life, which was producer Rich Harrison. The pair quickly realized that they had great chemistry and knocked out some demos that would help Amerie get signed to Columbia Records. And after doing a few guest spots for Nas, Amerie dropped her debut album, All I Have, in the summer of 2002. Amerie's hit song called One Thing always brings up the conversation if Beyonce and JLO stole her sound. Now let's get into this. Amerie came out with her hit debut single, Why Don't We Fall in Love, in 2002. Beyonce's budding solo career took a turn as she snatched up Amerie's producer Rich Harrison for her own 2003 smash song called Crazy in Love. Now, Rich Harrison produced Amerie's first album and the albums after, and was also her fiance at the time. In 2005, Amerie dropped her hit called One Thing, and because most people believe Beyonce's Crazy in Love was her first single, they were under the impression that Amerie stole Beyonce's original sound, as both tracks included heavy horns and a go-go feel. Now let's talk about the guy behind these records. Rich Harrison was a producer in the 2000s who was working a lot with Columbia Records, who had all these ladies under their roster in the early to mid 2000s. So the fact is, he was making go-go beats for just about all of them. And, others in the game, including Toni Braxton, Kelly Rowland, and Mary J. Blige. So go-go is basically known to Washington, D.C., the DMV area, which is where Amerie was living when she met Rich. So the sound is also known throughout the entire DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. And the go-go sound is one that ended up also getting used by stars like Beyonce and JLO, among other female R&B singers back then. Now, even though Crazy in Love dropped before One Thing, it's reported that Rich Harrison was Amerie's producer first, and Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, later brought him to Beyonce and then Kelly Rowland. Now, with the tracks of theirs like Crazy in Love and Get Right by JLo having similar beats and drum patterns, some have gone as far as to claim that Beyonce and JLo actually hijacked Amerie's whole aesthetic and robs her of her thunder and her sound. Now, however, there's one other element here that's also getting some attention as to it relates to Amerie and JLo. Now, One Thing was supposed to be shot to JLo. One Thing was supposed to go to JLo. Behind the scenes, and the Columbia label heads actually wanted it to go to JLo instead of Amerie. Now, once Amerie was kind of, getting privy to all of this, they say that Amerie went ahead and leaked her song One Thing to radio stations on her own, and it got really popular. So Columbia, they backed down and they let it be. So thank God Amerie leaked that song, because that song is amazing. All right. Now, Amerie did an interview on The Breakfast Club, and Charlamagne asked Amerie about how she felt about people saying Beyonce stole her sound, and if she felt like she wasn't getting the resources that she needed, being that Beyonce was on the label as well and other artists. So Amerie answered this. Let me play you what she said.
I did feel like that, but not for that reason. Mm-hmm. I felt like it because I was a new artist, and at the time, Sony had Beyonce, but they also had Jennifer Lopez, and it was, I felt like there was kind of like a lot of changes going on an executive level, and I felt like I wasn't getting the support that I needed, but not because of the other artists necessarily.
So even though Amerie isn't going to get into the nitty-gritty about what she may personally feel about other artists biting off her sound, I think she's choosing to remain out of the drama and focus on herself and what truly makes her happy. So you can catch Amerie on YouTube now, where she has a book club, and she also is a best-selling author with her new books called Cool, Awkward, Black, coming out on January 10th of next year. And she has another one called You Will Do Great Things coming out in March of next year. So definitely support Amerie if you're a reader. And she's been writing since she was 7 years old and really seems to enjoy it. So she also released a double album titled 4 a.m., Mulholland and After 4 a.m., and calls the music darker and moodier, but this was released in 2018. So will we continue to get more music from Amerie? I'm not sure. Will anyone have the answer to if other artists stole her sound? Maybe not, but definitely wishing Amerie all of the best, and we appreciate the hits that she gave us that we still play today. And that is all I have. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.